Well, the Vortex has done quite a few miles now. I think she's coming up for 500 miles now, and I've had no problems, no real problems with it. A couple of little teething things, but nothing that doesn't work. It's been really good, actually. It's fast becoming one of my favourite bikes, actually. Just a couple of little things might help you out. I know they're rather silly, but I noticed that the bags rub on the frame, even though you get the arms set up properly, you still get a bit of rub. So I just got a couple of these rubber patches, sticky rubber patches, so it just leans up against that. And they want changing from time to time because even these wear through. So I've got one of those on each side. And I also put another guard, sticky guard along the frame there, because I noticed that there's quite a lot of oil gets up on there, and I don't know whether it's chain slap. I doubt it, but I thought just another little guard on there just to protect the paintwork. The noisy derailleur, it's a strange one, this. Talking to ICE, and they suggested that I put some elastic bands round the jockey wheel, round the guide wheel, just to quieten it down, to see if it's actually the guide wheel that's making the noise or the derailleur, because the derailleur is it's working perfectly. It's as sweet as a nut, no problems at all, and it stays in really well. And I think it's the actual noise being amplified by the seat as well. I think that's where the noise is actually coming from. I don't think it's the derailleur, but I'll get the derailleur sort of checked out to make sure that it's not twisted. But looking at it, when you sort of check from side to side, there's no wear on anywhere to say that it's rubbing on anything, or it's out of, it could be out of twist. But I'll get it looked at. But I definitely think it's the guide wheel that's making the noise. But I can live with it, it's no problem. Now this is an interesting one. Noise. I mean, this applies to all of the trikes really. When I've set them up, you get them as best you can, and then you always get a high spot that touches, and talking to a couple of people and whatever, and experimenting myself, and I've come to the conclusion that if you find the high spot just by running it through, and when it touches the actual brake caliper, the brake pads, make a note of where it is, bring it round to the top and push it with your thumb. Not too mad, don't go too mad, but just give it a good push, and you'll find that it'll go. It's just you can actually get rid of it by just, I think the disc goes out of true a little bit, or it's not in true, but you can get rid of it by just pushing it with your thumb. It works perfectly, and I've done it on a couple of my trikes now. I think the disc brake bending was rather prevalent on my green speed more than anything else. So as you can see, the size of these, they're massive. So I took a little bit of pushing about just to get them back into true, but they're perfect now. And as we were up London yesterday, you might have seen on the previous videos the Prudential ride. It went really well. I mean, these are hell of a brakes on these. Yeah, like I say, I've got 3 ice trikes, and I've had no real problems with any of them. They actually do, when you get them and you set them up. I set them up myself. Just take some care and put them together, but they're great. They just, there's nothing on it doesn't work, and so far I've had nothing go wrong with them, and I've had some great fun on them. My original one, this is the the original one, my workhorse as I call it. It was my first one I bought, and again, it's got the original. It's what, 3 years old, and it goes backwards and forwards to work every day, winter, summer. No problems at all. I've not even changed the chain, which is a bit naughty of me, or the back gear sprocket. It's just as it was as I bought it and set up. Again, no major problems at all. Mechanically it's still going well. I've become a bit of a hydraulic brake enthusiast, I must admit. I do find as I use these, you can see the bike's in a bit of a state. I haven't washed it for a while, but they do tend to pack up with rubbish inside them, so from time to time you really have to give them a clean out, and the calipers stick sometimes, the brake pads stick because they get dirt behind them and whatever, so you just give them a good clean out every now and again, because like I say, it just goes every single day backwards and forwards to work, which is about a 7-8 mile ride, all weathers. So again, nothing to report really, no mechanical problems, nothing's fallen off. I always make sure everything's tightened up. Splendid little trike really. I haven't had a puncture in 2 years, and in fact these tyres have been on for 2 years as well. They're a little bit grippy. They're alright for touring, I should think, as well, but for what I use the bike for, they're perfect. And it's also got a trailer hitch on the back. I can put a small trailer on the back, so that means I can take her shopping and pick up bits and pieces, because I don't have a car licence anymore because of my eyesight, so that's handy. The only other tip I would say is the locking mechanism to break the bike apart. Every now and again you want to break it apart, clean it and grease it, and it stops that clacking noise you get when it dries out and it gets a bit loose. You want to sort of really check it out, because you sort of get this clacking noise from it. And like I say, once you've cleaned it, tightened it up, greased it, it's perfect, no problems at all. The suspension on this one has always worked well, no problem. I've got a green plastic in there. What more can I say? Rear rack, actually splendid, no problems at all. The wind wrap fairing, extremely good for the winter, keeps your feet warm and dry. Obviously you're going to get a little bit wet, but they don't get sodden like you normally do. This one's got a bit scraped actually. It got scraped by the back end of a lorry, believe it or not. I put it in the wrong position and he was turning right and he just happened to swipe me. I'll have to see if I can T-cut that out. They do some stuff that you can T-cut scratches out, but I think that might be a bit too much. But it's got a great place to put lights as well for the winter, which is fantastic. Yeah, you can also buy its own little woolly jumper, which I would recommend actually, because like I say, when it's in the garage it saves you from catching it and scratching it. But oh yeah, one thing with this actually, now and again you have to re-tighten the nuts up, because they have a tendency to come undone. Even though I put lock nut on it, and they still have a tendency to come loose, which is quite odd, but there you go. That's about it. My only complaint about it was not even a complaint, it's just one of those things. And my X-Sprint, which is my club bike, this is the one I do the mileage on. Again, no problems. This one's done, I must have had it about 2 years, coming up for 2 years now. Again, all the original gears on it, I haven't changed anything. Nothing's broken. This one's got to have done a couple of thousand miles, because I use it mostly every weekend, and it does a good 100 mile each weekend. And when I time off and whatever, and I go out in the evenings on it sometimes. Just a couple of things. I would recommend that you keep the spindles well greased. Pop them out. If you've had it in the rain, you've done it some rain or some in the winter, pop them out regularly, clean them, grease them, because I've had one jam in. The rust held it in. My thought left it in too long. I can actually recommend these tyres as well. They're excellent, as well as the tyres, the original tyres on the Vortex. So far, excellent. Very rarely get a puncture. If you do get a puncture, funny enough, they use it at the front. I don't think I've actually had a rear puncture on this one. Oh yes I have, yeah, no sorry, I have had a rear puncture, and that was down at Hampton. Again, you want to just break that open and clean it and give it a bit of grease. Sometimes it makes a bit of a noise. Again, the suspension's okay. I had a bit of trouble with gear cables rusting on the handbrake, but in an earlier video, get some Jaeger water jackets and put in there, and that stops the water getting in the cable, because the cable usually breaks around this bottom bit where the water gets in. But also I've got the cable over the top, so if there's any water it's going to lay in here, but it won't get in with the Jaeger jacket anyway, water jacket. So that cured that problem. This was quite a curious thing. Last year I had a problem where I broke 3 cables. I lost 3 cables, and they all broke just after the little tunnel here, and they just on that pinnacle where my finger is, they were breaking, and I lost 3 in 1 year, all in the same place. They were the standard gear cable that came with the bike, and the 2 spares I got. So I changed the cables. Believe it or not, I got some cheaper cables on eBay, and it cured the problem. I haven't lost a cable since, and I've done, you know, over 1,000 miles on it since. So that, like, latter half of last year, winter, and this summer. So that was an oddity, but that's not a problem anymore. It was just a cable, nothing to do with ice. We had a gear changer mechanism break on me, and when it was looked at, I sent it back to ice and they had a look at it, and it was the brass teeth inside that had worn off and broken. So they supplied me with another one straight away, and it has been okay ever since. I've had no problems with that at all. Now this is a bugbear with me. This is a brand new set of blades again. I've replaced these, but again, look, within no time at all they're getting loose, and they get loose and they start to bend round, and then they start to catch the wheel, and they get bent under sometimes, and then they get noisy. It's the noise more than anything else. As they get looser, they get noisier and noisier, to the point where you want to pull your hair out. But look, like I say, it's a rivet. You know, if they'd only put a nut and bolt in there, you know, you could tighten them up. Plus, you can't get replacement on their own, so that means you have to throw away a perfectly good blade for the sake of a plastic mud flap. You know, if I could buy the mud flaps, I could put mud flaps on the ones that I got in the garage. You know, typical hoarder, hold everything, but there's nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with the blades, just needs mud flaps to put on them. And you do need the mud flaps. It does help to keep you clean, and you know, in the rain and in the winter. So please ice, try and get hold of some rubber mud flaps and sell them separately, so we can just drill the rivets out and put some nuts and bolts on there. So that's my little family of ice. I'm going to give them a wash now because they're filthy. I've been a little bit of mist just lately, and the Ice Sprint X, that's going on a club run next weekend, so it's got to look its best. Alright, let's get some work done, I suppose. Yeah, bath night, and it's just what, it's just beginning to start raining, and guess what, I've lost another mud flap off the back. Shame really. There you go. I was just a bit manic over using genuine gear. I suppose I could look on the internet and buy something like a bolt on the back, I suppose, but it wouldn't be ice, would it? I think this one's getting a bit loose as well. I'll let them dry off, and then what I use is muck off. I find that better. Plus, you really shouldn't use washing up liquid. I don't know if you know that, but it washes the grease out of the bearings. It's not very good stuff to use. At least when you use the muck off one, get it out from Alford, something like that, then it doesn't take the grease out of the bearings. The other thing I would suggest with these, and I've got both of them done just underneath the frame, because they don't actually come with a serial number, is get them marked by the police. Don't take two seconds to do it, it took about 3 minutes to do it, and they put a security number in the frame for you, and it gets logged and it gets put on the internet, and I think it's well worth doing, because I mean these are quite rare, aren't they, in some respects, so if they get stolen they're going to stand out quite well, and with the security number underneath they're going to be well spottable if you try to sell them on eBay or something like that. But the only thing you could do is send them abroad, I think, if you wanted to flog them. But I'm very sort of mindful of security with these. They're always well locked up, and you've got to buy the best locks, and the security marked.